Old Willow Library, the pride of a small town in California, USA, is nearly 200 years old. The locals say that there are some books in this library that should never be touched by anyone. On the occasion of National Handwriting Day, a few students from the town's high school are sent to tour the library. The group is led by Ethan Carter, who has a deep interest in mysteries and ancient history. Along with him are his friends Sam, Lisa, and Jack. As soon as they push open the old wooden door and step inside, it feels as though they've entered another world. The smell, the soft lighting, and the piles of old books fuel their curiosity even further. At one point during the tour, Ethan discovers a hidden room. The room is dusty and sealed off. As they push open the door and enter, they find a thick, leather-bound book lying on an old wooden table. There is no title on the cover. Ethan opens the book and finds that the first page is written in red ink. Whatever you write will come true, but for each wish, a price must be paid. Is this some kind of joke? Lisa says, suspiciously. Let's see, Ethan says with a smirk, picking up a pen. He writes on the page, I want a gold coin in my hand. Within just a few seconds, a gold coin materializes in Ethan's hand. His friends are stunned. This is unbelievable, Jack exclaims, but they don't realize that the book does not simply grant wishes. Every wish is tied to a terrible curse, one that will bring grave danger to their lives. Ethan's friends were thrilled to see the gold coin in his hand. Sam jokingly said, I think this book can solve all our problems. We could become millionaires. Lisa, with a concerned look, replied, It doesn't seem believable that wishes are granted so easily. There's something hidden behind this. But Sam laughed it off. Oh, Lisa, this is just a bit of fun. Let's have some fun with it. Sam then took the book in his hands and wrote, I want $1,000 in my pocket. To their amazement, Sam's pocket suddenly bulged, and a stack of $100 bills spilled out. See, it's working, Sam laughed. But just then, the air became heavy. A faint, cold breeze started to blow from the corner of the room, and the windows began to tremble. Do you hear that? Ethan whispered. What? Lisa asked, her voice trembling. A strange whisper echoed in the room, as if someone far away was saying, You must pay the price. You did this, Sam, Lisa snapped. I told you something was wrong. They quickly tried to close the book, but it slipped from their hands and fell onto the table. Its pages started turning on their own. Strange, unknown writing appeared on every page. What kind of book is this? Jack whispered in fear. We need to get out of here, Ethan shouted. But just then, the door slammed shut by itself. The window panes turned black, and a cold, eerie wind began to blow from every corner of the room. A deep, chilling voice echoed in the room. I warned you, don't touch the book. The friends stood frozen, terrified. The book seemed to have come alive. Ethan had no idea how they would escape the curse that had been unleashed. The atmosphere in the room grew even darker and colder. The book now glowed strangely, as if it had a life of its own. Ethan whispered, This isn't just a book. It's the source of something terrifying. Suddenly, the pages of the book stopped turning. Their eyes were all fixed on the page where, in bold black ink, a sentence appeared. For every wish, a price must be paid. There is no way to avoid it. Price? Lisa stammered, trembling. Did we make a mistake? In the midst of their thoughts, blood began to drip from Sam's nose. He screamed, My head is spinning! Something's happening to me! That's the price! Ethan yelled. This book is granting our wishes, but it's taking something from our lives in return. Sam collapsed to the floor, his limbs going cold. Help me, he pleaded in a weak voice. I feel like something is being taken from me. It's the book's doing, Ethan said. We have to stop it. Jack tried to throw the book out the window, but it clung to his hands as if it were attached to his skin. Jack screamed in fear. "It won't let go!" Ethan quickly pulled the book back and tried to close it, but it felt heavier. The book reopened on the table and another sentence appeared. "One of you must sacrifice yourself, or everyone will die." The room was engulfed in darkness. Black smoke began to pour from the pages, slowly spreading throughout the room. Ethan and his friends were now desperately trying to figure out how to escape. "So, one of us has to die?" Lisa said, her voice filled with sorrow. "We'll find a way," Ethan replied. "We won't follow the book's rules." Just then, from within the smoke, a shadowy figure emerged. The figure spoke. "Your time is running out. Make your choice." Slowly, in front of them, a horrifying game of survival began to unfold. Ethan knew they had to fight the book to survive, but how? The book always seemed to be one step ahead of them. The shadowy figure in the smoke began to grow clearer, its form becoming more distinct as the darkness behind it seemed to come alive, its eyes glowing fiercely in the otherwise black room. In a deep, oppressive voice, it said, "This is your pact, and if you ignore it, one by one, you will all die." "What pact?" Ethan shouted in confusion. "You have received what you desired, but now you must repay it," the shadow figure responded. "And if you think closing the book will end it, you are mistaken. This book drains the power from every wish, taking both your soul and your life equally." Lisa shivered with fear. "We don't understand. What is it saying?" Ethan stood frozen, realizing the truth. "We didn't understand. This book isn't just granting our desires, it's taking something from our lives." The shadow figure extended its hand as if presenting an invisible force. "Without a sacrifice, you shall gain nothing," it declared. "One of you must give their life." Sam trembled, his voice breaking. "But why?" "We haven't done anything wrong." The shadow figure's tone shifted. "You were wrong. You said, 'We want whatever we desire.' But nothing in this world comes for free. Every demand carries a price." Their faces blurred in terror as the darkness around them grew more suffocating. The shadow's voice was filled with a powerful, deadly breath, making each word feel like a death sentence. "To end this, you have only one option," the shadow figure said. "One of you must sacrifice your life, or you will all remain here, becoming one with the book, piece by piece." Jack began to slowly back away. "We'll never accept this," he shouted, trying to resist, but the shadow's power was growing stronger. A black orb began to form in its hand, sending an icy chill throughout the room. "Make your decision," the shadow's voice echoed as it started to fade. "Your time is running out. One by one, you will vanish unless you act." Ethan knew their only chance was to destroy the book. But how? The book had become so powerful that it seemed impossible to fight. "We have to do something," Ethan said, standing stone still. "We have to unite and stop this curse, or none of us will survive." But the dark power of the book had become so overwhelming that they could see no way out. Ethan, Sam, Lisa, and Jack were all terrified, unable to erase the shadow figure's words from their minds. They knew that the book harbored a terrifying power, and to fight it, they might have to make an unimaginable sacrifice. "Can we really do anything?" Lisa asked, her voice shaking with fear. Ethan, however, responded with a firm tone. "We have to find a way. We will get out of here alive, but we must do it together." They all turned to look at the book once more. It seemed to open automatically, and new writing appeared on each page. This time, the terrifying message was even clearer, as though it was guiding them toward their next move. "There is no escape without a sacrifice. One of you must surrender, or none will survive." "One of us must die?" Sam asked in disbelief. But is anyone here willing to give up their life? Ethan's mind raced. His thoughts went directly to the horrific words inside the book. But for a brief moment, he hoped there might be another solution. He reached into his pocket, pulling out a pencil with trembling hands, and began to write on the book. "We will destroy the book's power, and we will all survive." As he wrote, he felt the book grow stronger with each word, as if the very act of writing made it more powerful. In an instant, the pages began to spread out, and black smoke filled the room. The pressure of the air grew so intense that it felt as though the entire room would be sucked into oblivion. "This isn't working!" Jack screamed. "We're in even worse shape now." The book's pages leaped up on their own, and Ethan realized that the only way out was to make one final pact with the book. But it was clear that this would come at the cost of someone's life. "If we avoid it, we'll all die," Ethan said, his eyes reflecting the weight of the decision. "But if one of us sacrifices themselves, the book's power will end?" He looked at each of them, his gaze firm. "One of us must give their life, but who will it be?" The room fell into an eerie silence as they all exchanged uncertain looks. After a few moments, Sam let out a deep breath. "I'll do it," he said quietly. "No, Sam," Lisa cried out. "Are you crazy? We can get through this together." "Lisa, it's my decision," Sam said calmly. "I don't know what's going to happen, but if one of us has to die, I'm ready." He picked up the book and, with a steady hand, wrote on the next page, "I will end the curse with my life." As soon as the words left the page, the smoke in the room thickened and a strange force began to emanate from the book. The light in the room flickered, and a mysterious spark seemed to rise from Sam's body. They all realized then that Sam was about to end the curse with his life. This was their final chance, and none of them could escape the fate that was about to unfold. Sam's decision left a terrifying silence hanging over the room. Everyone was staring at Sam in shock. Liza, Ethan, and Jack couldn't believe that Sam had chosen to make such a self-sacrificial decision. They all knew that the consequences of this decision would be dire, but they couldn't do anything to stop him. Sam slowly moved towards the book. His hand was trembling, but there was an odd determination in his eyes. He knew that if his sacrifice didn't end this curse, they would all be lost. "Sam!" Liza ran towards him, trying to stop him. "You can't do this." Sam smiled faintly and said, "I believe, Liza. Someone has to do it. I don't want any of you to suffer because of me." With those words, Sam wrote the final sentence on the last page of the book. "I open the path to freedom with my own life." The book immediately began to burn. Its pages were consumed by fire, but the flames were strange. It seemed as if the fire was not just burning on the outside, but was going deep within. At the same time, a strange change was happening to Sam's body. "Sam!" Ethan shouted. "Are you all right?" Sam said nothing, standing motionless, his eyes filled with a peculiar calmness. A shudder ran through his body as though he was undergoing a tremendous transformation. There was a force pulling at his chest, and he knew that this force would never let him go. With a deafening sound, the book was completely destroyed, and Sam vanished. It was as if all the energy had left his body, and in an instant, he was gone, becoming invisible. "What happened?" Liza gasped. Sam is gone," Ethan said, his voice heavy with grief. And then the darkness that had filled the room seemed to lift, and peace returned. The windows became crystal clear again, and there was no longer a chilling sense of dread in the air. The room was now completely calm, as if nothing had happened. The book was nowhere to be found. "Sam freed us," Ethan said softly. "He sacrificed himself for us. We're safe now. But how do we bring Sam back?" "He left us," Liza said, crying. "Sam left us. He knew what his decision would mean, Ethan said. He knew that to destroy the power of this book, he had to give his own life. But he saved us. The four of them stood silently, looking at one another. There was a mix of emotions between them: grief, gratitude, and a sense of liberation. Sam's sacrifice had saved their lives, but it had come at a great cost. Ethan stood tall and said, "From this day on, we'll all understand. Every wish comes with a price. And Sam has taught us that sometimes love and sacrifice are the only paths that can grant us freedom." The room became still again. The curse of the book was gone, but Sam's sacrifice would live on in their hearts forever. The room was quiet now, but the emptiness that lingered within it seemed impossible to fill with anything. After Sam's sacrifice, a profound sense of void and deep sorrow filled the hearts of those left behind. They knew Sam would never return to them, but the consequences of his actions had instilled a strange feeling of liberation in their minds. Liza stood silently, tears in her eyes. Sam knew that if it wasn't him, someone else would have to give their life. He did this for us, but why did he do it? Her voice was filled with questions, yet there were no answers. This was his path, Ethan said, his voice trembling. He knew what the consequences might be, but in the end, he did something that helped us survive. Jack, too, felt sorrow, but there was a sense of peace in his heart. Sam did this for us, and we will never forget his sacrifice. The three of them looked at each other. An invisible bond now formed between them. They knew that they had been freed because of Sam's sacrifice, but the price they had paid was beyond words. They also understood that the curse of the accursed book had ended, but the scars of that curse would remain with them forever. One question lingered in their minds. What would they do now? Sam was gone, but a whole life lay ahead of them. Yet they knew that Sam's selflessness had given them strength, and now they could begin a new life after the curse had been broken. In time, they made the decision to share their experience with others. They left the old library behind, but the memory of the book's curse would remain with them for the rest of their lives. If you were captivated by Sam's sacrifice and the dark mystery of the cursed book, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let us know what you think. Would you have made the same choice? Stay tuned for more thrilling stories.